Good evening, awesome people. Good evening. I'm here back in the village. It's been a rainy afternoon and just had dinner with my mom. And I'm here to just relax a little bit, do some work, and get to bed. So, there's a story that is going around, getting viral about an American who came to Africa for whatever reason, came to Kenya, and decided to terrorize black women and thought he could get away with it. And boy, was he wrong. It turned out that Kenya is a whole different plate. We are very nice folks. Kenyans are exceptionally nice. But don't make the mistake of pushing them beyond. That guy is in a world of trouble. And I'm going to share his story as a cautionary tale, but also to highlight some of the issues that are going to pop up for those of us who are moving to Africa. You all know I'm a very big proponent of bringing folks back to Africa. And for us, it doesn't matter whether you're of African descent or not. If you're just a genuinely nice person and you want to live in Africa, we want you to come and have a dignified life. But as you do that, there's going to be some challenges. Most people are nice. There's going to be a few people who are not. And so I'm going to share with you this story without sharing the video. I really want to share the video. However, when I found out that it was a brother, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I personally, excuse me, absolutely hate stories that don't paint one of our own in good light. Things that make us look bad, I don't like stuff like that. But on occasion, we have to address these issues because they happen, they have been happening. And I'm hoping that everybody learns from this young man's experience because he is in a world of trouble. World of trouble. He thought he could just come in and do all kinds of nonsense, but that did not work out well for him. So anyway, folks, it makes me really sad that this is a brother. I wish it was something else other than a brother, but these things happen. Now, for those of you who live in Kenya, or Kenyans everywhere, I also want to make it clear that these things are more the exception than the norm. The challenge with these isolated stories is that you see one person doing something terrible, and then that one story is spread all over, as if this is what Americans do everywhere. Now, I'm very much aware that Americans don't have the best reputation everywhere in the world. There are places where people don't like to see Americans. I know that. And so, particularly Black Americans, I say these kinds of incidents are extremely rare. Every single day, I work with groups of people from everywhere. I work with a ton of Americans who are coming to Kenya. And I can tell you that things like this are very rare, very, very rare. So I'm going to tell you this young man's story, what he did, and some of you have already seen it out there, and share with you some things that folks need to be aware of as we figure out how to make Africa work for all of us. We're all going to share this space. Those of us who are born and raised in Africa, those who are joining us from someplace else, and these things are not always easy. Remember, some of us, we have been separated by at least 500 years. And so when we come together, there's going to be differences, there's going to be similarities, and sometimes there will be tensions. And it's okay. It's perfectly fine. So let's talk about this young man and see what we can learn from him. But before we do all of that, folks, this is Kisumu Karateng. I'm deep in the village in Western Kenya. I'm a Kenyan American, of course, who is coming back to the village. And I help folks with construction. If you're looking to do things like what you see behind me here, I help connect you with people who do interiors, do kitchens, landscaping, and things like that. So if you need help, my number is posted below. And that said, if you enjoy the content we share, all you got to do is check if you're one of the subscribers. If you're not, add your name to it. But in any event, we are just happy that you are here as a regular viewer. So anyway, based on what I've seen online, this young man comes to Kenya for whatever reason. And in his mind, I think he thinks that Africans living in Africa occupy a lower position than he does. And when I watched him, when I listened to him, I can only guess what part of America he comes from and the kind of life he has lived in America. I don't think he's from any place that is glamorous in terms of economics and all that stuff. So there's a video showing him calling two young Kenyan women walking, and the manner in which he calls them is wildly, wildly disrespectful. something that would not be tolerated anywhere on earth, let alone America that he came from. And so I think in his mind, he expected these women to simply fall on their faces and start licking his toes and things like that. And to their credit, I loved what the sisters did. They stood up and they told him, no, 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 this is not how we do things. And he had such a hard time realizing that a black queen in Africa could reject him. It's like, what do you mean? In his mind, he thinks he's doing these women a favor as an American by even giving them attention. And he says a lot of vile stuff. First of all, he begins by talking about what African women look like. I think he uses the word maid or something like that. He uses a word that is incredibly disrespectful, degrading their looks, saying that these women are not even worth paying to sleep with. In his mind, it's like, I can pay them this much money. Again, apparently, it sounds like he came for sex tourism or something of that sort. And it is true that there are many foreigners that come to Africa and think very poorly of us, think very poorly of our women. Like I said, it is a small group. It is not the majority. The unfortunate truth is that these little outliers really occupy a lot of space to make people think that a lot of Americans do that. It's a very small minority. So apparently he talks about how he could easily, in fact, he would be doing them a favor to pay them some peanuts to sleep with them. And he wants to film them. And again, he's thinking he's creating content that is going to do, like he's doing his viewers a favor. Wildly disrespectful. But these women are not having it. So thankfully, he's stupid enough to record his misbehaviors and post online. And a lot of people don't realize this. I'm telling you, Kenyans can be brutal, especially Kenyans online. Unlike many African countries, we have way more access to internet. So many Kenyans are connected online. And I promise you, the last group you want to mess with are Kenyans online. Ask our cousins right across the border. Just ask our cousins right across the border. Kenyans online could be something else. They could be patient with you, but push them too far. Ask our own president. Kenyans online will shred you to pieces. So after he did his shenanigans and posted his stuff, I think he thought he was going to get like views and all that. Then, of course, the Kenyan army online came out. Oh, he is in a world of trouble. So after doing all of that, apparently he's been kicked off multiple social media platforms. The B&B that he was staying in, they're kicking him out. They turned off his utilities, allegedly. And he doesn't even have money to go back home. And so he's gonna find out that the very same people he was disrespecting are the people who are gonna need to save him. So I don't know if I feel sorry for him, because clearly he's a young man who has problems. So these are people who have their own issues that I imagine even where they live, they probably pull off stuff like that. Very, very uncultured young man. But most importantly, I want you to remember, these folks are outliers. The vast majority of Americans that come here are very culturally attuned, very culturally sound. They walk in and they're very open to learning. Because the first question that everybody asks me is, what is it about Kenyan culture that I need to know so that I can be respectful? Every single American or European or non-Kenyan that I work with ask me that question. What do I need to know about the Kenyan culture that will allow me to fit in without causing any problems? And those are reasonable folks. And we walk through it. And by the way, these are not just problems confined to people who are not raised in Africa. Somebody like me, I was born and raised in Kenya. However, I've been gone for so long, I am not the same person. And when I come back home, even though I am Kenyan, I know my place in the society. I have to find ways to fit in. I have to find ways to work my way into the community. So it's not going to be easy. So you can imagine, if people like me who are raised here, it still takes us work to connect. You can only imagine the amount of work you will need to do to connect. But typically, all it takes is you being a normal, decent human being. You don't need any special skills. Just be a normal, decent human being who is open to learning. You don't have to agree with everything that people do here. There are so many things that happen that I would disagree with and would never do. But we can always find ways to be culturally attuned, to connect with the people who live here, to be respectful, while also bringing in the new things that we bring. Because one of the most wonderful things about folks who have lived outside, like us, folks who were born outside Kenya, is that there are certain exciting new things that you're going to bring. And believe me, Kenyans love foreign stuff. There are very few countries that I've been to where people love just foreign people, foreign things more than Kenya. Kenyans love foreign stuff. And they will welcome you. You have something new, bring it. Add it to what we have. Because again, historically in Africa, we are so used to people coming to take. What gives me so much joy is all the non-Kenyans that are working in are thinking about, hey, what can I bring in that could help? How can I contribute? That is the only question people ask me. So again, that young man is despicable. There are similar examples. There was another video going around of a white person who slapped a Kenyan. And he I think it was a tourist or something like that. There's also cases of a Chinese guy beating employees in Kenya. So yes, there are foreigners that come here, terrorize Kenyans, and it's terrible. Again, my experience has been those are outliers. So please don't crucify Americans based on the behavior of a few silly guys here and there. In fact, the first group that is going to go after those Americans who are messing up are the Americans who don't like those things. Yes. So yes, our folks who are joining us are wonderful friends. They are wonderful, but in between you'll always find a few random outliers who do things like that. So again, folks, when we come back, let's figure out how to connect. It works. It takes work, but it works at the end. So thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.